Hey, hey, hey! Happy Friday. I hope you've had a good one so far today. Yeah, it's Friday night. We're on day 3 of the Lockdown Life to Lovin Life Summit. It has been going amazingly well. People have been loving all of the free workshops that we have had on offer this week. And there's no shortage of that tonight either. Just because it's Friday night, doesn't mean there isn't another great workshop ready and waiting for you. And it's a special one tonight. Who would have thought you would be spending your Friday night on a workshop called Fix Your Fanny? So tonight's workshop is all about pelvic floor health. Now, our resident experts in Ladies Life Lounge from the Female Fitness Academy support us with all aspects of female health. And we've got the wonderful Robyn Ablott, who is co-founder of the Female Fitness Academy. You've probably met Claire earlier in the week. She did a workshop on Wednesday night. But tonight I've got a pre-recorded workshop of you because Robyn is a new mum at the minute and couldn't make this one live. So we have a pre-recorded version of this workshop for you. So get some popcorn, get a gin and tonic, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Fix Your Fanny workshop. Record it. Cool. Hey, evening everybody. I'm just going to check. We're here for our weekly masterclass tonight. We have got the Fix Your Fanny masterclass with my lovely friends from the Female Fitness Academy. We've got Robyn with us tonight. Before we get started, I'm just going to check that we're streaming live to the Facebook group so I can keep a check on any comments. Hold on, it'll probably make some noise. Good. That's all working. Yay. What night is it today? Is it Wednesday?
Yes.
I lose track of the week. What a way to spend your Wednesday night talking about fannies. But anyway, it's very important stuff. And that's the reason why I've invited Robyn on to come and talk to us about how to fix your fanny. So some of you might be thinking, oh, well, maybe this is only for the women who have given birth to numerous offspring, but not necessarily always the case. So if you're a woman, this is a workshop that is definitely for you. So I'm going to hand you over to Robyn to enlighten you, and I'm absolutely 100% confident you're going to be enlightened from this masterclass, to talk about all things pelvic floor. Hey, Robyn.
Hi. Okay, so I'm Robyn, and I am a pre- and postnatal exercise specialist and musculoskeletal therapist, working with women, kind of the link between after birth to giving birth to getting back into exercise again safely. However, pelvic floor health is really important for those throughout all stages of your life. If you're a woman, or if you've got a vagina, you need to be thinking about this basically, because it's something that should be looked at as a preventative measure, not once there is an issue itself, because the earlier we can treat pelvic floor dysfunction, the better. And as Jodie said, you don't have to have had children to be experiencing symptoms of pelvic floor dysfunction. You might be going through the menopause, you might have issues with your gut, so constipation can cause issues. There's loads of different things that can cause you to seek help for your pelvic floor health. So you're probably wondering why we call this workshop Fix Your Fanny. It is a bit in your face, but the reason we changed the name from Pelvic Floor Health Masterclass is because we found that when we did, we just got a lot more attention for it in a good way. We got people talking about their vaginas, which is really important. It's not a taboo. We did find that many women don't like to talk about their issues. You don't just go around to your friends for a cup of coffee and just talk about your vagina and your leakage that you're having. It's quite it's very common, and it's not talked about enough. So anything we can do to raise awareness, even if that's calling it a ridiculous name like Fix Your Fanny. We're also, what we're saying when we say fix, we're not saying you're broken, but something might not be working as it should do, and we do need to do something about that for your confidence and for pain relief and just general
pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure. Yeah. So, first question, Jodie, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
What do you call yours?
I've got a few different names. I think it would definitely. It's gone by the Lady Garden. If I'm in good company, if I'm trying to be well behaved, it'd be Lady Garden. But sometimes it gets me foof. Foof.
So we've heard so many names, and it's fine to call them whatever you want. It's totally up to you, obviously. The name for the vagina is basically the inner passage that leads up towards your uterus. That's the inside. Anything on the outside you can see is your vulva. It's good to be able to say the right words as well, so that, that you know that there's no shame attached to using the right terminology. However, whatever you call yours, we don't care.
There's some great names out there, isn't there?
Yeah, just as long as you're talking about them, that's what we want. So
I've called it my muff, and when I was a kid, I used to call it my front bum or my tuppence.
Yeah. Front bum. I think I called it when I was a kid, or tinkle. But then that sounds a bit like a penis, maybe. I don't know. So all of these words we've heard from many people. We had a bit of a laugh at each workshop. But we're talking about your vagina, and the pelvic floor muscles inside. So what we're not talking about is, we're not saying that we're going to be able to help you get a designer vagina or whatever that is. There's no such thing. But this is the outside. And we like to show you this straight away, so we can, again, break the ice, have a little bit of a laugh.
Just settle us all in.
Yeah, settle you all in. I apologise if you're looking at this on your phone and your husband or your kids are with you.
Or you're on the train.
Yeah, just turn your phone away from the person next to you. But this is just to show you that on the outside, we're not looking to change anything here. Everybody is totally different. Everybody looks different. They're all absolutely fine, all normal. Okay, so whatever normal is. So the real goals of this masterclass, or for encouraging you to start thinking about your pelvic floor health, is for confidence, one of the main things, because working with women, and trying to help them to return to exercise safely, I've realised over the years just how many women suffer with pelvic floor dysfunction and how much of a barrier to exercise that can become.
Yeah.
Whether that's through pain or through leakage, or just the fear of moving and making anything worse if they have anything such as prolapse. So that's the first thing that we're looking at, to make sure that you can return to movement safely, or just day-to-day living without any pain. The next thing is the maintenance of healthy sex drive and enjoyment of the go. So the stronger your pelvic floor, the more likely you are to experience more intense orgasm. Mm-hmm. Doesn't want that. And then the rest down here are the ability to sneeze without the fear of tears running down your legs.
Yeah, remember that one quite well.
Have you experienced that yourself, Jodie?
Yeah, and if I do an almighty one still, or a good run of them, by the time I get to the last one, I have to cross my legs sometimes.
So there's the sneezing, the coughing. If anyone has a sickness bug, it's like, oh dear, where are the pads? Sometimes I have women say to me, I'm fine, my pelvic floor is fine, just as long as I don't go on a trampoline. And that's not really the case. So if you're getting any leakage with running or sneezing or on a trampoline, often women think that it's normal after having a baby, or they go, oh, I've had 5 kids, or I've had 3 kids, but this is just me now. And although it's quite common, it's not normal. So it's not something that we should just have to accept. It's something that we can do something about, and you should be able to enjoy a good belly laugh without the fear of an uncomfortable escaping.
There's lots of women who do just accept it, don't they? I know I did till I met you two.
Yeah.
Just take it as part and parcel of that's what it's like when you've had 3 kids.
Definitely. And when I used to teach group classes as well, a lot of group classes, it was amazing how many women, as soon as you started to do, maybe like if you started doing high knees or star jumps, or not that I do them anymore, but if you did, they would quickly dash off to the toilet, or they would just skip that one and miss that one out. And now it's at that point is when I would speak to them after class and say, do you know, if you need any extra help, come and see us as a one-to-one, and then we can see how we get on with rehabbing your pelvic floor issues, because it's not something that you have to live with, basically.
Yeah.
So what can we do about it? So I'll go through some signs and symptoms first of pelvic floor dysfunction. So, and it's not just what women would consider the usual. So it's not just the leakage of urine. So that obviously is one of the main ones, but it might be things like pelvic floor pain. So pain down below, lower back pain, tailbone, coccyx pain. That's quite common with pelvic floor dysfunction. Pain in the lower back when you stand for long periods or walk for a long time. Any of these symptoms can indicate that there may be a little issue there. And what people are often told when they speak to a doctor or they speak to the midwife is, do your Kegels or do your pelvic floor exercises. So Kegels is the name given to a pelvic floor exercise. However, that's all well and good, but I don't know about you, Jodie, but when you had your babies and when you were told to do your pelvic floor, did you know how to do it correctly?
No, I don't think so. I think most of the time I just held my bloody breath or something. And
yes, that's a big one.
I think I breathed in more than anything.
So probably pushed all that air down on the pelvic floor even more. That's a common one. Often people don't know what they're doing, so they just kind of have a guess, squeeze the bum, pull the belly in, hold the breath. Sometimes they can't find the activation, so they can't engage the muscles, so the brain to muscle connection is just not there to begin with. And even then, even when you can perform a Kegel correctly, they're not the answer to a strong pelvic floor health. So they act, as I always say, they act as a sticking plaster for a weak pelvic floor, because pelvic floor dysfunction is caused by a whole body imbalance. It's not just caused by those particular muscles.
It's not like just one muscle or a couple of muscles there that you feel do that, is it?
Yeah, it's not just that they've become weak. It's not just because you've been through pregnancy. I always say pregnancy isn't always the cause of your dysfunction. It's almost like you will have had some problems maybe with posture beforehand, maybe the way you breathe, constipation issues, and then pregnancy is kind of the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, that's just the story of my life, Robyn.
Oh no. So hopefully
yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me.
So the first thing that I will talk about is the pelvic floor being overworked, or what we deem a hypertonic pelvic floor. So it's the pelvic floor muscles that are too tight. And everyone seems to think that when they come along and they say, I've got some issues with the pelvic floor, they seem to think, oh, it must be too loose, it must be too lax, it must not be very strong, I can't engage it. And often that's not the case. Working with a lot of women's health alongside too late at night, alongside a lot of women's health physios, and shadowing the work they do. And when we refer clients to them at the beginning of their programs to have an internal checkup, it's amazing how many women actually have a hypertonic pelvic floor, so too much tension held. So they're not able to fully relax those muscles to then strengthen them, if that makes sense. So it's like do you know, sorry, what did you say, Jodie?
What makes them so tense inside? Because it's not that it's a headstrong muscle, it's just like
yes, there's loads of reasons, but if it's too strong, I'll go into them in a second, but if your pelvic floor is too tight, it's like me going into the gym and training my bicep, but doing dumbbell bicep curls like this.
All right, yeah.
I'm not fully relaxing the muscle to then be able to fully engage it. It's on all the time, it gets overworked, it starts to spasm, and then you have issues such as urinary, the urge to urinate too often, maybe a little bit of leakage when you cough or jump because it's tight, and then it squeezes on your bladder and leak a little bit. Pain is a really strong indicator that there may be some too much tension down there, especially with pain during sex. or the inability to have sex at all because the penis can't enter the vagina. And you asked why would it be like that? There are many reasons. One of the main ones I see is pain is because of stress. So as women, we're often stressed to the max, we're juggling all sorts of things. And when we're stressed, a lot of us hold tension in particular muscles. So some of us might hold it up here in our shoulders and we end up like this, a lot of tension here, headaches. Sometimes we hold it in the stomach, so people will pull the belly in tight without realising it, and when I tell them to relax, they don't realise how much they were holding tension there. That will encourage a pelvic floor activation, so that will hold tension also in the pelvic floor. A lot of women squeeze the bum muscles when they're tense, so they stand and squeeze tightly.
Yeah.
Or if the core is weak, particularly weak, they'll over-engage the glutes to try and stabilise the pelvis, and then that ends up engaging the pelvic floor constantly. Another reason might be if you have had any trauma, or even if your brain is associating a negative experience with your vagina. So let's say something as simple as after childbirth, when you feel like, oh, I'm recovered now, I'm ready for sex, and that first experience of sex possibly hurts.
Yeah.
Maybe it's you're not quite ready or you're not relaxed enough and it's painful. The next time you then have sex, your brain will associate pain with sex and everything will tighten up down there. And that's another another reason that we see a hypertonic pelvic floor a lot.
Isn't there quite a lot of reasons?
Yeah, so why that's really important to figure out if that's the case with you is because if let's say a woman comes to me for postnatal exercise training after having the baby, and the very first session we look at all the tests for any postural imbalances. We look at any abdominal separation that they may have, and then we come to breathing in the pelvic floor. Hopefully what I should see is as I encourage them to start to breathe correctly, which involves deep breathing techniques, we should see that on the inhalation, which again I'm going to go through in a little while with you all to see if you can actually practice this properly. On the inhalation, we should feel the pelvic floor relax completely. And that's what it should do as we breathe in. Allow the diaphragm to move into the belly, allow the pelvic floor and deep core muscles to relax. And then as we exhale, we should be able to engage the pelvic floor and the deep core muscles to help assist the expelling of the air. However, if I feel that as they inhale and they say that they can't feel any relaxation in the pelvic floor, that's quite a big sign that obviously there's some kind of issue with too much tension within the pelvic floor. And then at that point, there's no point doing Kegels. In fact, Kegels would be the worst thing that they could do because they're going to tighten it even more. You can't work a muscle and engage it without first relaxing it. So at that point, I would usually refer then to a women's health physio who can do a full pelvic internal check. And if she finds that there is an issue, she can then do some biofeedback with a machine that helps encourage that relaxation first. Mm-hmm. Once that's done, then they can engage properly. So I'd suggest if anyone feels that might be them, if they have any pain, any feelings of back pain, tailbone pain, anything I've described, always go and have a checkup with a women's health physio in your area. There will be one, I can't stress how important it is. Every woman should go at regular intervals. I'd say at least maybe every 2 years, just as a checkup, like you would with your dentist, just to check everything's going okay down there. But especially once you've had a baby. Ideally it'd be on NHS, but we know that's never going to happen. But in France, they all get with their medical system, they all get a checkup, an internal check after, which is amazing. But yeah, we're not as lucky, obviously. But so talking about Kegels, going back to Kegels and saying that they're not the be all and end all of pelvic floor rehab, what people will say to me, well, what should I be doing then? So the first thing that we look at when we work with clients is we look at their alignment. So that is their posture and the way they move, any muscle imbalances. Because if, let's say, the posture is not quite right, or the alignment is slightly out, if we've got, say, a forward tilt of the pelvis, so the pelvis tilts forwards and the curve in your lower back increases, that will put a stretch on the pelvic floor. So then it's harder to activate. If you are someone who constantly tilts their pelvis underneath and tucks their tailbone under, that can cause too much tension. So ideally, we want to get the pelvis back into a neutral position so we can then work the pelvic floor as it functionally should do.
Yeah.
So we will look at that first, and that's something that you should always strive to achieve through whatever training you do. If you do exercise, make sure that you are working your whole body, as it's not just those muscles that work in isolation. Your core, your glutes, everything else needs to be nice and strong.
Do you remember when you first met me and you did my kind of posture assessment, and then when you saw me about, it must have been a month or two later, after I'd done some of the work that you'd set me, how different it was the way I stood. I mean, I've probably slipped loads now.
That's the thing, if you don't keep up with the exercises, you can, especially because it's daily habits. It's those things that we're doing on a daily basis. Let's say if you are too sedentary, if you don't walk every single day, let's say we should all be walking at least 15 minutes a day, which sounds like it's common sense, but actually, when you think about it, some people do say to me, oh, actually, I drive, I drop the kids off at school in the car, then I go to work in the car, then I've got an office job, and then I come home. Some days I don't actually walk anywhere.
Yeah.
And we were made to move. We were made to walk. And when we don't, that's when the issues such as hip tightness, back pain, and lack of mobility can then cause muscular problems such as your pelvic floor issues.
Yeah,
so alignment is something that we look at first, and that I'd suggest anyone who's trying to rehab their pelvic floor to do, whether that's start an exercise class that's specific to postnatal fitness or just core strengthening classes, or whether that's yoga or Pilates. Pilates is a really, really good one to do, because it helps link your breath with your movement.
Yeah.
Breathing is something that is massively overlooked, but is amazing for pelvic floor health, and you have to be able to link your pelvic floor to your core. You have to be able to link your breathing to your pelvic floor connection before you can do a Kegel properly.
Now, isn't it weird? Because no one would put two and two together and get them, would they?
Yeah, no. So when you, like you just mentioned before, when you first did your Kegels, it was a breath holding. You're holding your breath.
Yeah, I almost did the reverse of what you were talking about when because I see this all the time. You're brought up to breathe in when you're trying to get through a skinny gap, which means you're trying to get thinner. When actually, when you breathe in, like the common sense says, you fill with air. Now, when you fill a balloon with air, it gets bigger.
Yes.
Actually, your tummy should go out.
Exactly. So what you would have been doing is when you took a breath in and your belly's going in, you would have been chest breathing. So
all up here.
Very shallow breathing. Yeah.
And I don't need any help in making myself any bigger.
Exactly. And if you use the analogy of the balloon, which you just mentioned, if you are someone who sucks their tummy in often and tries to deep breathe, that's just not going to happen. And any breath that does get in there is going to be, if you imagine I'm holding a balloon and I squeeze the middle, it's going to go down and it's going to go up. I often see women who have issues with pelvic floor also have issues such as hiatus hernias, because that constant pressure in the middle here is pushing the air up and pushing the air down. And so you can look at your pelvic floor dysfunction as a inability to dispel pressure properly in the core. So again, I'm going to go over that with you with a little breathing technique called core breathing in a second. So before we do this visualization and this practice of core breathing, I'm going to just explain why I use some of these visualizations. Otherwise, when I start telling you to pick up a blueberry with your vagina, I might have some people going in the fridge looking for blueberries. That is not what I want you to do. Obviously, it's a visualization. It's not a party trick. And when I talk about jellyfish as well, sometimes people are like, how are you linking your vagina to jellyfish? But there are little visualizations that I'm going to use throughout this technique. So just to pre-warn you. Okay, so what we're going to do, if you are watching this now or you're watching this later, you're going to actually have a go at practicing this with me. So we're going to start off with breathing and check that we're taking a nice deep breath in at the right place and sending it to the right place within our body. And then we're going to link that breath to a pelvic floor activation. So before I do that, I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible for you to understand why your breath links with your pelvic floor. Because I think when you understand it, you're more likely to do it because you say, that makes sense. So your pelvic floor is at the bottom, well, pelvic floor muscles. It's not just one muscle, it's a series of muscles that sit underneath your pelvis like a sling, like a hammock. And they're there to support your internal pelvic organs. Now, you can think of them as a muscle that doesn't just work on its own, it works as in synergy with a unit of deep core muscles to stabilize your spine and make sure that you avoid injury when you move. So I want you to visualize your deep core like a moving house box, so one of those big cardboard boxes. And at the bottom, your base of your box, that is your pelvic floor, okay? On the front of your box, and that wraps around the sides, you have a muscle called the transverse abdominis. Now, you don't need to remember these names, don't worry. I'll call that TA for short. But this is like your body's natural corset that holds everything in.
Yeah, I think mine's
back, yeah. And at the back, you've got your muscles that run down your spine, like your multifidus. Again, don't need to know them, but they're at the back. And at the top, which you've probably, if I get this a bit lower, at the top here, underneath rib cage, you've probably heard of before, is your diaphragm. So that's the main muscle that's involved with breathing. And it's what is kind of acts as a vacuum to suck air into our lungs and then push air back out of your lungs as you exhale. Now, how these muscles work together is the pelvic floor, the TA, and the multifidus and other muscles around here, your deep core, will respond to what your diaphragm does when you breathe. So when you take a big deep breath in, so when we inhale, and that air should go down and fill the whole of your lungs if you're taking a big deep breath. So for that to happen, as you inhale, your diaphragm will contract and move down into your belly, sucking air into the lungs, so increasing your lung space. At the same time as the diaphragm moves down on that inhalation, your pelvic floor, your TA and your multifidus should relax to let that pressure down. Now, as we mentioned before, if you're holding your tummy in, that cannot happen. So you end up becoming quite a shallow breather. So you're just using the top part of your lungs, your belly's tight. Your shoulders are coming up and down as you breathe. You get a lot of tightness here. Sometimes people get a bit of chest pain here. It can lead to feelings such as anxiety and stress because your body, there's a nervous system response where your body thinks she's breathing fast. This is the fight or flight response. I'm going to send cortisol around the body. So anything we can do to deep breathe and get the muscles working as they should do is important. So you know now that as you inhale, your diaphragm contracts and moves down into your abdomen, and your other deep core muscles we explained relax. So as we inhale, you should feel the pelvic floor just relax a little bit. As you exhale, that diaphragm comes back to its normal shape, pushes air out of the lungs, and then that's the point in which the pelvic floor, the TA, and the multifidus should engage slightly, lift and help to assist that pressure, pushing that pressure out. If any area is weak and we do a huge, like let's say we do a big cough or we do something that builds up the pressure in the core, like a cough or a sit-up or a jump, then and the pelvic floor isn't able to help lift and push that air out, then that pressure is going to go down. And that's when you're going to get things such as your leakage or your prolapse, where the walls become lax and the internal organs can drop down into the vagina. So the most important thing we can do first for you is to encourage you to begin to deep breathe and be able to inhale and relax your muscles and your belly, and then exhale and engage the muscles. So the first bit is quite simple. We're just going to talk about inhaling into our diaphragm. So what I want you to do, if you're doing this now, is to sit on your seat and, sounds ridiculous, but pull your bum cheeks apart. So you're going to grab at where your sit bone is, you're going to grab around the area, I'm doing this now, and you're going to pull them apart and then sit back down. Now what you should feel is that your vagina is a little bit more stretched. Can you feel that?
A little bit open.
Yes, yeah. And you can feel that. It sounds ridiculous. We'll all have some fat on our bums. That fat is kind of down the sides now.
It's not like saddlebags now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So can you feel your sit bones? If you give yourself a wiggle, can you feel your sit bones?
Yeah, I can grind it.
Excellent. And we shouldn't be sat on our tailbone. So we should be sit on our sit bone. Yeah. Okay. Now, what we're going to do first is, I don't want you to think about your muscles. I just want you to think about your breathing. So I want you to try, as you inhale, to keep your shoulders relaxed. That's going to allow your rib cage to open. Put one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest.
Right.
So take a normal breath that you would normally do. If I was to say to you now, just take a big deep breath, what would you do? Okay, did you see your shoulders pop up?
It's all there, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's all chest. And did you, and what I call it a bit of a sniffy breath. You kind of, like you're smelling something. Right, we don't want that. What we want is, I'm going to come a bit closer and hopefully you can hear this. We want a Darth Vader style breath. So we want it to sound like this. Can you hear that?
No.
No.
Your nostrils flaring though.
Yeah, are you ready?
Yeah.
Can you hear that? Yeah.
That.
Okay, so it's almost like a snore. So it's coming from over the vocal cords. It's coming from here, and I'm using my diaphragm to draw that air in. So one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. I don't want your chest to rise. I want your belly to go nice and big and your pelvic floor to completely relax. So let's try that. So breathe out your mouth, let all the air out first. Now inhale. That was better, wasn't it? So your shoulders didn't rise as much and you got a longer breath as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, belly is massive.
Good, good. So we should also be feeling that the sides of the rib cage should open up. So it should, we call it lateral thoracic breathing.
Yeah, I could feel it here. Like it's like my bra straps got a bit tight around the bottom.
Excellent. So it's like you're blowing your lungs out like a big balloon. So we're going to do that again. But then now, on the exhale, you're going to make a sound like this. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Kind of? Yeah. So it's a half sound. So we're going to make that sound and we're going to force all of the air that we have out of the lungs. Don't worry if you go a bit dizzy. It's quite normal because you're not used to taking in that amount of oxygen. Okay?
Yeah.
So focus on something. Breathe the air out of your mouth first to begin. Now close your mouth and shoulders down and inhale. Now exhale. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. That's it. Excellent. So some people like to use the half breath because it slows the breathing down. Some people like to use a breath. So they say the word, the letter as the exhale. So give the S one a go and see which you prefer, Jodie. Right. So breathe out normally. Now close your mouth. Inhale deeply. And then okay, which one did you prefer?
This helps me control it a lot longer.
A lot longer, okay. So either is okay. So everyone who's trying this, give both a go and see which works best for you.
I like them both yeah, gives me a bit more control, I think, and let me release it a lot more slowly.
Great, and that's what we want, control over the breath. So this time, I want you to inhale deeply, shoulders relaxed through over the vocal cords, blow up the rib cage, and really concentrate on that feeling of letting your pelvic floor go. So it's almost like you feel like you're not bearing down, so you're not straining, but you almost feel like you're going to open your bladder. So you're going to almost feel like you're going to go to the toilet. Okay? So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Shoulders relaxed, hands on the sides of the ribs, or one on the ribs and one on the belly. Breathe out through the mouth. Now close the mouth, in through the nose, over the vocal cords. Feel your belly and your rib cage expand. Now exhale. Stay in this. Good, and keep going till there's no air left. Good. And then when you're ready, you can inhale again. So slowly inhale. Allow the belly to expand and your rib cage to expand. Drop this down a bit more. And then exhale. And feel everything lift.
And I know I proper relaxed then at the top because I felt like I was going to do a wee.
Good, good. Okay, so you felt
that. I finally got all my air in, and I was like,
yeah.
right, make sure. I said to myself, right, am I relaxed down there?
Yeah.
And a little bit more to go, so I'll let it go.
Good, good. Did you feel that point? Yeah. Did you feel the point where you go, oh, I did have some tightness there because I just feel it drop? So before you even start doing any Kegels or any lift, just make sure you've got that relaxation. It's so important. And it can take people weeks of practicing that every day to fully relax the pelvic floor enough to then be able to feel a good engagement. So as you did that, then you inhaled and you fully relaxed. When you exhaled again, Jodie, did you feel that your pelvic floor and your deep core, so lower between your hip bones, down here, did you feel like that area tightened as you got rid of that last bit of air naturally?
Only when I said it, because I knew I should do, really.
Okay.
So I had to mentally engage it to do it.
Yeah, so this time you will do, so if everyone does it again, and this time you really focus on pushing that last little bit of air out, and then your pelvic floor and your TA should engage to help that happen, and you should then become a bit more aware of that lift. Okay?
Yeah.
So are you ready? So one hand on your belly, one hand on your rib cage. Let's take a big deep breath in, close your mouth, and then exhale and feel the rib cage and the belly just tighten. So the rib cage comes in and the belly engages.
See, if you push that last little bit out really hard, it does.
Did you feel it? Yes, good. Did you feel the pelvic floor lift?
Yeah, right. As long as I concentrated here,
yeah,
down there. Like the first time, I was like, "Oh, this should be pulling up now," and it isn't. So I pulled.
Yeah.
It up. Whereas that time, I just thought, "No, keep pushing air, pushing air, pushing air." And it did eventually get hold of it.
Good. So what I want you to do is link a visualization onto the end of that S breath. So as you start to exhale, I want you to imagine there's three things I use, and some work better than others with different people. So you find one that works for you. So the first one is the preventing a thought escaping. So when you inhale, so you're going to inhale and relax everything. Feel your bottom hole expand. Imagine the ring, as crude as it sounds, imagine the ring just expanding and getting bigger as you inhale now. So I want you to do that with me. Ready? So breathe out, close your mouth, inhale, feel your belly get bigger, feel your bottom hole get bigger. Okay, now exhale. It's easy now when you visualize it. Now exhale and say, and feel the bottom hole close as if you're preventing a fart escaping. Got it? Yeah. Did you feel it close? Good. So as you say the S, you should feel it close. That's you lifting everything. If you engage
sound actually to help you make you think like
yeah, and that's it. It's like I've heard all sorts of visualizations. I've heard one crazy one that was like, I think it was suck a milkshake up through your vagina. Like imagine your straw stuck in a milkshake up. That's a bit weird. But the fart one works particularly well, because if you lift the back structures of your pelvic floor, all of your pelvic floor engages, and it's much better than say when people say, oh, just imagine that you're stopping the flow of urine, just imagine you stop yourself going to the toilet. That doesn't always engage the right areas. It kind of just tightens the front.
That only lifts that. It feels like that for me if I just try and do the stop.
Yeah. So you don't want to feel that. You don't want to feel that. You want to feel that.
Yeah.
That's where the jellyfish, I'm pointing at the screen. That's where, can you see the jellyfish on the screen? If you imagine a jellyfish, as I inhale, it's when the jellyfish does this. If you've seen a jellyfish swim. And then as I exhale, when they come to the surface, it's when they go, and the tentacles. So that visualization works quite well. And the last one is a blueberry. So picking up that blueberry. So I say a blueberry. I've heard people use a marble, but I say a blueberry because if you over squeeze a blueberry, what's going to happen?
Get squished.
It's going to make a mess, isn't it? Right. So I want you to pick up your blueberry with your vagina, but not squash it. So we're going to inhale and relax. So let's try this again together. Shoulders relaxed. Inhale over the vocal cord. Feel your belly expand, pelvic floor relax. And then exhale and imagine picking up a blueberry and lifting it into your belly with your vagina muscles. Exhale with the S breath. And then inhale and feel that blueberry drop out. Okay? Which one worked best for you?
Fart.
The fart one?
Blueberry. And the blueberry's been with me a little while, but I prefer the fart. Now I've learned that one tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
Fart, jellyfish now for me.
Either of them, whatever works for you. The main thing is when you're practicing that you inhale and let everything go. Let the belly go big, let the pelvic floor relax, and then exhale and engage and lift. That's the most important thing. And then if you can't feel the relaxation, maybe see a women's health physio for an internal, see what's going on. If you feel like you can't lift anything and there's no strength there, again, you might need an internal just to get some neural feedback from a machine. Or if you can, that's great. Then what we want you to do is practice 10 core breaths-ish 3 times a day. Really good time to do them is to do them when you're lying in bed because you're relaxed.
And do lay down at first if you've got a really weak pelvic floor.
Yes, yeah,
really weak. I couldn't do it sat up or stood up.
Yeah.
Lay down at first.
Yeah, that's a really good point to make actually. If you're doing this now and thinking I can't feel anything, try what we've just said, lay down, because you've not got the gravity there, so it makes it a little bit easy. It's like stage 1 is perform them lying, stage 2 is seated, 3 would be standing or in a box position. And then if you do them at night time, like I said, it helps with the relaxation. So it helps you sleep as well, because the deep breathing will trigger a nervous system response. It'll tell your body there's no danger, and you can rest and digest and get into that really nice state of relaxation.
It's like a nice bit of meditation sometimes, isn't it, to settle down to?
Yeah, so you're doing 2 things at once, really.
Yeah.
Fixing your fanny and de-stressing your brain.
De-stressing your life.
So,
you know what? That was really cute because I was seeing a vaginal physio woman a while back, and that's what I struggled with. So she was getting me to test things, and she could tell whether I was doing the right movement just by putting a finger on the side of my bum cheek.
Oh, really? So you were too engaged in your bum cheeks too much.
I was tightening my bum, and she'd literally just touch me, not poke. She'd hardly feel a finger on me, and she'd be like, right, engage. And she'd be like, yep, you're doing that right. Or she could tell whether I was doing it wrong. Now I could lift but I could never feel the relax. And sometimes I'd let it go and I hadn't even realised I'd let it go. So when I thought I was letting it go, there was nothing left to go. So
you had no control. So that's more of a mind to muscle connection there. And then the practice then helps establish that neuromuscular connection, and you're able to control it better. And then once you're able to hold it up for a full breath out, then, and that's quite a long time to hold it, I'd rather you hold it for a full breath than 10 seconds or something like that.
5 seconds I had to work.
Yeah, so that would be about a full breath out, really. And then once you've got more control like that, you can then do what we call your quick flick, so like your strong lift and hold quick and then release instantly, which are what's needed when you're going to sneeze or you cough or anything like that. But until you've got that control and that connection with the brain, there's no point trying to do that.
They actually gave me a really good NHS app, but only for use when you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like after you've been taught like we have there.
Yeah. It's squeezy.
It's called Squeezy, but it does a nice little flow. It reminds you however many times a day, but it gets you to do the long ones.
Yeah.
And then 10 quick ones, not just because I think a lot of women just do all the quick ones.
Yeah.
But like you say, that's
squeeze the bum, like you said. Just they either hold the breath or just squeeze the bum and the thighs, and they're not actually engaging. Yeah. As you engage, you should not be squeezing your bum cheeks at all. It should be nice and soft.
That's why I think it's good sitting down, like you said, and part your bum cheeks. Because once you've done that, they're soft at the sides, aren't they? Yeah. It's too difficult for them to do that once you're in position. So even lay down, you could do that, couldn't you?
Yeah, excellent. So the things we should be avoiding is breath holding, which you mentioned before, sucking in your tummy, and that's not just when you're doing the pelvic floor exercises. That is when you are walking about in day-to-day life. So many of us.
Like you're not that fat.
Yeah, so did you used to suck your tummy in a lot?
Of course I did, because I had a mum tum, and you don't want anyone to think you've got a mum tum, so you try and hold it in, but it doesn't.
That is the vicious cycle as well. So it's hard, but all I'd say, and I know how hard that is. I struggled with IBS, so I'd get bloated, then I'd want to suck it in, and then sucking in your tummy just totally squashes your digestive system.
It hurts, doesn't it?
Makes that even worse, and then it's like a vicious circle. So sucking in your tummy is making that pressure system not work as it should do. So that's something, if you do feel self-conscious when you've just had a baby, buy your baggier clothes, don't wear your tight things and be sucking in all the time, because it's just, or just be, I know I can't say to you, just be happy with your tummy how it is, because I know some people are really self-conscious. We shouldn't need to be like that, but some people are. But sucking in the tummy is not going to do anything for your pelvic floor health in the long run, or your back. And then stress,
it's not going to make your tummy any flatter in the long run, is it?
No, it's not. So stress is one of the vagina's biggest enemies, we always say. We've mentioned why before. Obviously, we can't remove stresses out of your life ourselves. Only you can do that, and some things we can't remove. So anything we can do to help manage that stress, so to reduce cortisol, like the deep breathing, would be wonderful. Staying hydrated, super important. Obviously, those muscles need fluids, and eating the rainbow. We say make sure you've got your vitamins and your minerals, because you could be doing the best work you can trying to strengthen your muscles, any muscle on the body. But if your nutrition isn't right, you're not going to be able to repair those muscles and grow and strengthen. So that is basically all from me. Have you got any questions or?
Really, really good. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I think what most people will have realised tonight is that it's not the stuff that you think it is.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And actually, it's I'm going to say it's really basic stuff, but that doesn't mean it's easy. But it's
and it's quite hard, actually. Like you said, when you mentioned that you did it the wrong way around, most people, when they do this, they often say to me, that just feels totally unnatural. I want to do it the other way around. I want to inhale and tighten, and then exhale, let everything go. And it's just because that's become natural for you. So when you do it the right way, that then feels unnatural, if that makes sense. But it is hard, you're right, and it requires a lot of concentration. So it's not something that you can just do anywhere. You can eventually, you'll be able to sit anywhere and do it in traffic lights and remind yourself to do it, but not at the beginning. You do need that concentration.
It takes a lot of learning, doesn't it, and quite a bit of practice to get good at it. It did for me. But yeah, that's the eye opener really, is all of that about posture and the way that you hold your body. You know, the big thing for me was being a woman of big boobs. You know,
I think I remember, Jodie, when we started, you were quite a rib, what we call a rib flarer as well. So the ribs pop forward, that stretches all the muscular and the muscles of your core.
Not like that now.
You still like that now?
No, they're not like that now.
Oh, they're not like that. Oh, good. I've not seen it for ages.
I think I do a little, I curve over a little bit, but that's from the weight of these. So quite often I really have to check myself and stand tall and lift up and drop my shoulders.
And more rowing in the gym. We do all sorts of, we sit there every day and we're hunched over laptops, we're driving, we're on our phones, we're in a rounded position, but we need those muscles of the back strengthening to bring ourselves back into alignment. Another quick point to make, once you've mastered that core, what we call core breath, so the inhale and relax and the exhale engage, that should be then linked to every exercise you do, if you're doing it in the gym, if you're doing it at home. So let's say, for example, just taking a row. So as I row, I would inhale and relax to prepare, and then I would exhale, engage my pelvic floor and core, and then row. So when you've heard people say in classes, brace your core, people just suck in because they think that's...
Or it doesn't mean go...
Yeah, or go...
on the outside, as if you're about to be punched in the stomach.
Exactly, but if you go, you're holding your breath, you're creating a big bear down of pressure on your pelvic floor, and it's actually worse.
Brace your core meant, though. I thought it meant, you know, do make your tummy hard on the outside as if someone's going to punch you.
Yeah, and it's not. It's that whole, better than going or holding your breath is that big breath out. So as you squat, it would be an inhale and relax all the way down. Exhale, engage as you lift up or lift the weight. So if you do anything in the gym, learn that core breath, and then please link it to every movement you do.
I think that's what a lot of people do wrong, actually, is they get the inhale exhale wrong in exercise, and they end up inhaling on the effort rather than exhaling. That was a hard one for me to learn. I remember starting to do press ups and not being able to do a single one, and then as I was getting better at them, learning to exhale on the effort to push myself up, and actually it helped to get me up.
Amazing how much stronger and more and your foundation feels stronger when you link that correct breathing to your movements.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Robyn. That's been fabulous. You know what, you two are immensely clever around this stuff, more than people think, to be honest, because you've done so much research. You've done so much development, the two of you, aren't you? I think you're qualified beyond belief these days, aren't you? Both of you.
Well, if anyone wants to get any more tips and guidance, we offer a lot of free advice on our social media. Our website is www.the-ffa.com, or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram as the Female Fitness Academy. And I am under Robyn Ablott PT. So if you want any regular tips or guidance on anything to do with women's health, not just your vagina, then you can give us a follow. We've got a membership opening in the new year, an online membership for home training, which will focus less on just exercise but more on the holistic aspects of women's health. That's really important: nutrition, sleep, stress relief, and movement.
Amazing. So as soon as you're all set up and ready for that, let's get some of the links to it dropped in the group, because I for one, as well as a lot of people, I think will be keen on getting into something like that, especially we always are at the beginning of the new year anyway, aren't we?
January is just like well, it's actually, to be honest, January is not our craziest month. September's our craziest month, because you have the baby boom, because everyone's got jiggy with it at Christmas, then everyone's having babies in September.
I had a 10th of September, I had a 19th of August one and a 10th of September.
Oh, I'm 10th of September. So if you want to think about that, with that, why?
Yeah, oh, you're a proper Christmas baby. You might do New Year's Eve jobby.
Nice.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on and doing this for us tonight. That is like major educational, and I'm sure everybody will take loads and loads from that. So thank you very, very much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Right, so have yourself a lovely evening, and yeah, I'll see you soon. And I'm going to drop you a little message actually, and you can assess me back for me next week maybe.
Come in and we'll have a little look.
Right then, my love. All right, have yourself a lovely evening. Thank you. There you have it. We hope you have enjoyed this workshop and are enjoying taking part in Lockdown Life to Lovin Life, the summit. If you've been enjoying the workshop so far this week, then we would love to extend a massive warm invitation for you to come and join us in Ladies Life Lounge as a member. The doors to the lounge are open now and you can become a member today. So what do you get? What do you get if you decide to come and join us? We have got so much on offer within Ladies Life Lounge. First and foremost, you will get access to our immense library of online video modules and all of the downloadables, so workbooks, printables, checklists, all kinds of stuff, all under each of our 7 secrets. On top of that, we host 2 live monthly masterclasses with industry experts every single month. Plus, we've got a back catalogue of, well, I think never mind 40, I think it's in excess of about 50 now. So you've always got access to those. We have got the best, and I would put my house on this, the best community of supportive women you have ever seen. So other members in Ladies Life Lounge are just the best in the world. We have never known a group of women support each other and cheerlead each other the way that these ladies do. On top of that, you have got that whole team of resident experts that have been taking part in the summit this week. All of those on tap for you to be able to ask questions and ask for advice anytime you want to. We also host a monthly group coaching video call. So we allow 2 of our members each month to take a hot seat, and we all kind of get in and roll our sleeves up, muck in and help each other to solutionize around some of the issues, challenges, goals and aspirations that we're working on. We've got an amazing book club, so we read regular books and use those to develop ourselves. We have quarterly social events with guest speakers, and yes, it's time to get back to face-to-face. So our summer social is all arranged, face-to-face event that will be taking place in Birmingham, so you'll get to come to that. We naturally have lots of perks and discounts for you if you are part of the members group from lots of different businesses and different services that will help you to live a happy, fulfilling and successful life. And you get easy access to us too, me and Roxy. So, and who doesn't want a little bit of that in their life? So much value to being a member in Ladies Life Lounge. So you're probably thinking, well, what's it going to cost me? Well, ordinarily, monthly membership is £49 a month. If you decide to do that annual, you save a couple of months subscription, and an annual subscription is £499. But because we are in the summit, our usual boot camp slot at the moment, we have got an amazing special offer on. So if you sign up during the summit, we've got the doors open till midnight on Monday, then you can join for just £29 a month. And you get to keep that price for life, okay? That has no end, provided you don't leave. If you leave and you want to come back, then things might change. But if you sign up this week, you will get to secure that £29 a month membership subscription for life. And if you want to take advantage of the annual, look at the saving there. It's 200 quid. So you can join for £299. We've even got a couple of bonuses. So if you sign up as a result of this particular workshop through the link that I will share with you in a moment, then you will get a free goodie bag. And we've got some amazing goodies in our goodie bag. You'll see there, you get a pretty confident handbag sized journal and a pen. We've got mini Clinique sets, some Floral Street perfume, a lovely little affirmation bracelet. You get a half price t-shirt from our shop, lots and lots of lovely things in there for you. So if you sign up as a direct result of this workshop with the link that I'm going to share with you in a minute, you can bag yourselves one of those little bags of swag.
So here's the link. All right, if you would like to sign up, you can use this link until midnight on Monday. So you literally just type into your browser bit.ly/LL2LL21, and that's all capitals, the back end of that URL, LL2LL21. Make sure those L's are capitals, and you can sign up on this amazing offer price. So if you have got any questions, whether it's about this particular workshop or you've got some questions about the membership, then please just drop them below this video. And you might want to tag Ladies Life Lounge in them, or tag the masterclass host. So you can do that quite easily at the bottom. Or if there's something you want to ask in private, just DM us, and we will answer whatever questions you have. So we hope you've enjoyed this. As we said, big warm invitation to come and join us as a member in Ladies Life Lounge. There really hasn't been a better time to do it than now. Let's make this summer the best one yet, the one where we truly feel like we are living our best lives. So we hope to see you on the other side. So yeah, we'll see you soon.